In the early morning bustle of Kampala streets, the smell of fresh bread drifts from corner shops and roadside stalls. For a number of Ugandans, especially the urban dwellers, rushing off to work, bread has quietly become a go-to staple. It's quick, convenient, and accessible. But behind the expanding shelves of loaves and buns, a quiet story is rising. One about weight, honesty, and the quiet struggle to keep bread standards from crumbling. As demand has grown, so has the number of bakeries. New names appear almost every month, from large industrial plants to small neighborhood ovens. And yet, with this growth comes a sharp increase in the pressure on regulatory bodies to ensure that what is sold matches what is promised. When the bread standards are ignored, the consequences are likely to seem small at first glance. A poorly baked loaf, or one that spoils way too quickly. But the more troubling issue lies in the weight that consumers really rarely think of to check. In Uganda, the law is clear. A standard loaf of bread must weigh 1 kilogram. Anything larger than 100 grams bun must follow strict weight calories. 250 grams, 500 grams, or multiples of 500. But in the markets across the country, a number of loaves fall short of that promise. Consumers have become more vigilant about expiry dates and spoilage, says Maximilian Nachito, a senior standards officer at the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. But we also need them to check the weight. It is just as important. Her message comes at a time when UNBS is dealing with a surge in complaints.
As far as quality of bakeries is concerned, we've come a long way, and I think there's a definite improvement in the quality of bakeries and the bread on the market as a result of certification. As far as a list of certified products is concerned, bread, I think, ranks the third most certified products. That means there's this commitment to quality by manufacturers. So despite this, we thank also the consumers who also check on the performance of the manufacturers and ourselves. Please keep in the complaints. This is room for us and the manufacturers to improve. So we should always look out for the products that bear the Q mark, and also date coding is very important. You don't want to take food that has gone bad. And also, thank God, bread spoilage is visual. When you're buying bread, unlike something that is packaged in a bottle, the spoilage is visual, so you can inspect and see the obvious signs of spoilage.
Underweight loaves, sometimes by significant margins, have been reported in markets from Kampala to remote trading centers. Now, very many violations appear to come from small and newly established bakeries, especially those whose products don't make it into the major markets. Under the Weight and Measures Act, selling or even processing underweight prepackaged goods is illegal. The penalties are stiff, ranging from suspending operations to permanent closure for yet repeat offenders. Yet, the practice persists. Why?
Bread loses weight during baking. If you do not properly know how much by weight your bread will lose the wet dough until you get the finished product, chances are high that you will produce underweight bread. So you have to know how much wet dough you require, so that when you bake at a particular temperature, this much of weight will be lost so that you achieve the net weight as concerned. Another thing is the equipment and the process issues. If you use substandard equipment that are not calibrated, you weigh your bread, it's saying 1 kilogram and actually it's 900. If you don't control your processes, you can overheat and lose more water or burn the sugars in the flour, and you lose the weight and the loaves become lighter. Improper slicing can also result to underweight since you lose bread through crumbs. There is also natural drying after baking. It naturally dries out. The moisture during storage is lost, and this could lead to underweight.
Some bakers, Nachito says, intentionally reduce ingredients to cut costs and boost margin profits. It's a quiet trimming that most consumers don't notice, unless they weigh the loaf themselves.
Underweight could be intentional cost cutting by the bakers, though this is illegal and is subject to the regulatory enforcement.
However, the issue isn't in the deception. Bread naturally loses weight during baking as moisture evaporates. If bakers do not account for this loss by adjusting ingredients, temperatures, and drying times, the final product will be underweight even if they began with the right measurements. Faulty weighing machines also contribute to the problem. A miscalibrated scale can throw off entire batches, leaving customers with short weight loaves and bakers with a lot of legal trouble.
My name is Nebat Rugadia. I am a journalist, a business journalist with Uganda Radio Network, based here in Kampala. Now, today we want to explore what some people have been complaining about, that is the weight of the bread that they buy in shops. The Uganda National Bureau of Standards, which is responsible for ensuring that whatever consumers take in is safe, and it also complies with the standards that guide that product. So today we are looking at bread. We want to show you whether what you buy is what you actually go to pay for. Here, the guidelines provide that every loaf of bread has measures as stated in the standards. We have 250 grams, we have 500 grams or half a kilo, and we have 1 kilogram. Now, the loaves that we have here also that they weigh 1 kilogram. So we are going to find out what the truth is. I will show you the brand, and then you can tell. Yes. So this machine, our scale is weighing 0000 when there is nothing. So we are going to put on this loaf, and we shall see what it actually weighs. Yes, our weight scale is, let's put it at exactly 00 before I release. Yes, it's weighing 00. Now, if I release, then you can see how much this bread weighs. So this one has gone to 1.00 kilograms. That means the brand is exactly 1 kilogram as it is stated on the package. So let us try another one. Okay. You can see this brand we are going to weigh. Okay, let's go back to 00, and then we put on our loaf. As you can see, this brand has weighed 0.915. That means it's less than the 1 kilogram which is written there on the package by about 0.09, yes, kilograms to reach a full 1 kilogram. But on the package, there is 1 kilogram. So let us try another brand. You can see this brand. It's also written on 1 kilogram. Let's see how much it weighs. We shall go back to 00, and then I put on the package. This one has gone to 0.945 kilograms. That means it's less by about 0.055 kilograms. So it is also less than what is written on the package. We have bakeries, especially those in supermarkets, which bake and sell without putting on a brand. This is one of them. Actually, this is from a bakery, not a supermarket, but a standalone bakery. Let's go back to 00 and then put on the. This is exactly 1 kilogram. So much as it is not branded, if you go to that bakery, you might be paying for exactly what you expected. That is exactly 1 kilogram. So we go back to 00 and we weigh our other. This one is from a supermarket. You can see it. It is baked from that supermarket. So you go to the supermarket, go to the counter, and you ask for their bread, which is baked daily. Let us see how much it weighs. So as you can see, this one from the supermarket is actually weighing 1.045 kilograms. That means this bakery in this supermarket is actually giving the customer just a little more of what he or she went to pay for. I don't know whether the customer would feel offended by taking home more than what he or she paid for or not, because it's 1 kilogram as written on, but it is showing a little more than 1 kilogram. So our viewers, listeners, the customers, the consumers of bread, this is what happens when you go to buy bread. Some loaves are less than 1 kilogram, others weigh exactly 1 kilogram, but there is also a loaf that can weigh a little more. So in our further explanations, we shall get what Uganda National Bureau of Standards think is the problem, where the issue comes in, because every loaf written on 1 kilogram is supposed to weigh 1 kilogram. More details in our story. Thank you very much.
Last year, these concerns took center stage when Superloaf Uganda, one of Uganda's well-known bakery brands, came under fire. A customer posted a video online showing a loaf of bread labeled as 1 kilogram, weighing significantly less. The post spread quickly, drawing immediate attention from the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. Superloaf acknowledged the error, attributing it to one of the employees' mistakes. Concerns have been noted, the company said in its statement. We had already isolated the bread batch which was not meeting the required standards for further investigation and corrective action. But not everyone believes that such incidents are accidental. In a busy downtown shop, bread dealer Serunjoji Arias shakes his head as he arranges his morning stock. There are companies that do it intentionally, he says. They make and supply underweight bread just to increase the profits. We can see the difference when we handle the loaves of bread every day. His words echo a wider sentiment among retailers and consumers who feel shortchanged, sometimes literally, by a product they rely on daily. Now back at UNBS, officials say enforcement is improving. Bread is now the third most compliant industry in terms of certification. And yet, the reality is that monitoring hundreds of bakeries across the country remains a challenge. And so, the responsibility is shared. Regulators must remain vigilant. Bakers as well must uphold the standards. And the consumers, whether buying from a supermarket shelf or from a roadside stall, must take a moment to check the labels and sometimes the weight as well.
Bread, I think, ranks the third most certified products. That means there's this commitment to quality by manufacturers. So despite this, we thank also the consumers who also check on the performance of the manufacturers and ourselves. Please keep in the complaints. This is room for us and the manufacturers to improve. So
as Uganda's bakery industry continues to grow, regulators, manufacturers, and consumers all have a role to play in ensuring the products on the shelves meet the standards set by the law. For now, the scrutiny over weight remains a reminder that even everyday items deserve a consistent oversight. This story was compiled by Nebat Rugadia for Uganda Radio Network in Kampala.